What's going on, everyone? I'm just a simple American man here to see and learn about what actually happens in the House of Commons. Now, just the video before this, I learned all about UK Parliament. So I know that the House of Commons is one of the three parts of UK Parliament, but I think this video is going to be good for me because it'll dive into hopefully more detail. I don't exactly know why they phrased it this way. What actually happens in the House of Commons? Like, I don't know what kind of crazy stuff is going down there, but let's find out.
So from time to time...
Whoa, what did that say? What, so unruly? Wait. Why is the House of Commons so unruly? Is that a thing? Is it unruly? I thought this was a branch of the UK government. I mean, this would not be the first time that a branch of government could be, classified as unruly, I would guess, but it's just funny to phrase it that way. Maybe they are unruly. I don't know.
You've probably seen the inside of the House of Commons more than ever, with TV news and your favourite YouTube channel reporting on it constantly.
It's been insane. When was this made? 2019? Has it been... Was the House of Commons insane in 2019, or is it always unruly? I don't know.
For those who aren't familiar with the UK system of governance and the procedures of the House of Commons, it could all seem a bit weird. So as requested...
There's a lot going on in this room. Is this what it's like? It's a bit chaotic. I know the House of Commons, from what I remember learning, has a lot of elected officials in it, but God, they crammed this thing packed full of it. Do they really get honest-to-God work done when there's this much hubba-bubba bustling going on?
Procedures of the House of Commons, it could all seem a bit weird. So as requested, here's why the House of Commons is so unruly, and why MPs often look more like badly behaved school kids.
What?
First, we thought we'd give you a brief...
Is this true? I'm not sure what an MP is, but I'm guessing it's these folks in the House of Commons. That's their title, perhaps. But are they really this misbehaved?
Brief introduction to the House of Commons. Forgive us if this is super basic to you, but we thought we wanted to start at the ground level.
You can't be too basic.
The House of Commons is one of the chambers which makes up Britain's Parliament. It's the section of Parliament where the elected officials, or MPs, sit. They make law and generally run the country. This isn't to be
That's fairly important job, huh?
confused with the other house, the House of Lords. The House of Lords is also within the Palace of Westminster, but this house is unelected and is generally responsible for checking that the laws passed by the House of Commons are fit for purpose. We've made a video about how bills pass, which you can watch by clicking the link in the description. Anyway, the main way to distinguish between these two houses are the colours of the benches. The House of Commons is green and the House of Lords is red. The colour scheme dates back 300 years.
Is that a thing? Do UK people, are they aware of this? The color scheme? It's kind of cool. Easy thing to remember. I just wonder if that's actually a fact that like the common person knows. I don't know. I sure don't know details like that about my own US Parliament or government or any of the agencies, any of their color schemes.
And is significantly older than the current House of Commons itself. The current House of Commons was only actually built in the late 1940s and early 1950s, after a bomb hit the original one during the Blitz.
What?
A lot of the furnishings came from other Commonwealth...
The Blitz? I am gonna have to learn about that at some point. It's not a small little detail that the House of Parliament got hit with a bomb. That seems kind of noteworthy. What the heck?
Countries. The Speaker's chair came from Australia, for example. Anyway, so now we've had a brief history lesson on the House of Commons. How does it actually work? Well, the person in charge is known as the Speaker. Currently, the Speaker is the rather infamous John Bercow. As I mentioned at the top...
Why is he infamous? John Bercow, if I'm pronouncing that right? Yeah, I'd love to know what he's so infamous for, and why he's the speaker then? Or has it been while he has been speaker, he has become infamous, something like that?
We'll dive deeper into the speaker in our dedicated video.
Okay, I'm going to have to watch that.
Of who they are. Their role is to manage debates and ensure that rules are being followed. They also decide who speaks, as well as deciding which amendments are selected. As such, the speaker should be impartial, and once...
Yeah, I was going to say, that is a really, really trusting position. That person has a lot of power. So that person would have to be unbiased. They're choosing who speaks, what laws and things are discussed, even put up for discussion. That's almost too much power. Like, I don't know if I could genuinely trust anyone with that amount of influence, because if something isn't brought forward for discussion, or you don't allow certain people the chance to speak, that has a massive influence on how law and government is going to operate, how it's going to affect the nation as a whole. I don't know. I guess it works, though. Does it work? I guess I don't know for sure, but it seems like it's what they're going with, and therefore has worked to some extent.
Once they're elected, they should resign from their current political party. This creates a rather interesting and unique situation. This is because the Speaker is elected to represent a constituency. For John Bercow, it's the constituency of Buckingham. Although Bercow won his seat for the Conservatives in 2005, once he became Speaker, he lost the ability to vote on motions, except in the event of a tie.
Okay.
This means that since then, he's lost his ability to fully represent his constituency.
They're impartial.
Some may argue that this is
Makes
okay
sense.
because if his constituents were seriously annoyed by this, they could vote him out in the next election. And yes, usually this would be the case. However, there's a long-standing tradition that opposition parties don't field candidates for the constituency of the Speaker. This means that for the last 3 elections, the only major political parties standing against Bercow were the Greens and UKIP. Anyway.
The Greens and UKIP. This is just a side note. I've never heard of these parties. I'm going to have to do a whole video or something and learn about the UK political parties, I just realized. That's kind of a big deal. That's awesome that, I mean, in the US, there is Republican and Democrat. There's 2 political parties. I mean, technically there are others, but when I say they have zero influence and they never get an honest opportunity to be elected into power, I mean it. They do not. It's two-party system, and that's not a good thing. So the more ideas, the more diversity of ideas and points of view that you can put forward in the form of political parties, fantastic. So these 2 parties I've never heard of. I'm sure there's other parties. That's great. I love that.
That's briefly the role and controversy surrounding the Speaker. Now to explain what happens in a division, or as you might more commonly know it, a vote. Firstly, in the House of Commons, the Speaker asks, as many as are of that opinion say aye, and of the contrary, no.
Question is that Amendment H be made. As many as are of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
Of the contrary, no.
No.
Division!
You can be as dramatic as you want when you're the Speaker. I kind of love that. And I love the ayes and noes. This whole thing is just kind of dramatic. And at the same time, he's taking it quite seriously. So I don't know. Maybe it's because I've never seen like voting like publicly or sort of official government voting in like a body like this where you verbally vote. Is he just going on the crowd noise? Wait a minute.
As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no.
How is he determining? I just realized, how is he determining who won? Is it like a baseball game? Like whoever makes the most crowd noise kind of thing gets the hot dog thrown at them? Like, I don't know if that analogy makes sense, but I don't know. I thought they were gonna like count the votes or something. This is quicker. I don't know about the accuracy part of it.
Division! the lobby!
From the comments, it seemed that some of you were confused by this line. When he says I
am.
he means the slightly archaic term for yes, not the organ you see using.
As many as are of that opinion say aye.
And when he says noes, he's referring to the people who voted no. The noes.
The noes to the left,
Yeah.
391. So the noes have it, the noes have it. Unlock.
That part I get. Okay, so he mentioned a number there, 391. So do they count the no's? Perhaps, and then they do this ceremonial shouting of aye or no. I hope that's how it works. That would make a whole heck of a lot more sense.
Not the, yeah, you get it, the speaker's not obsessed with facial features.
Order. The question is the main motion as amended. That is to say, as amended by Amendment A. The question is the main motion as amended. As many as are of that opinion say aye.
Oh my gosh.
Of the contrary,
We're just
no.
going to do this all day.
Division! Clear the lobby!
If neither side audibly win, then
I feel like having a loud voice and a bit of a personality, maybe even a little flair for the dramatic, is actually a really great qualities to have as the speaker, because he really gets his point across.
the speaker calls for a division. This is where he says, division, clear the lobby.
Division! Clear the lobby!
We keep showing this guy.
At this time, a button is pressed
Do this
by the
over and over
principal
again, I get it.
doorkeeper that sets bells ringing throughout the parliamentary estate. That bell tells MPs that they have 8 minutes to get to the lobby to vote. Just an interesting point to note,
8
as
minutes.
the bells are ringing, screens also display
They could be doing anything. They could be in the middle of taking a huge visit to the bathroom, if you will, the restroom. They could be taking a huge dump, let's just say it, and then this bell rings because of the division, and they have to run all the way there to do whatever, cast their vote. I'm sure it's happened before.
what is being voted on and are accompanied by a green background, as the vote is happening in the House of Commons. If it was happening in the House of Lords, it would be a red background. Anyway, if MPs don't get there in time, the door is locked and they cannot vote. If they do
What?
make it, then they can vote. The UK
They're just
still
sprinting
uses a lobby
there.
system for voting. On one side of the Speaker's chair is the lobby for those who vote in favour, and on the other, there's the lobby for the people who are voting against. In order to vote, an MP must physically enter either one of these lobbies. Those verifying the vote are known as the tellers.
I mean, as much as I love all this dramatic stuff and having to run in here to cast your vote, in an ideal world, wouldn't it all be, I mean, it'd all be done digitally or something with ID verification, so everyone who is an elected official that is relevant to this, the House of Commons, could cast their votes. If they're off visiting their sick grandma and don't happen to be within 8 minutes, their vote shouldn't be excluded, right? I feel like this isn't quite right, not quite modern, but again, it is very dramatic. I'll give them that.
And are usually the whips of each of the parties. They have a long list of MPs and check to see who has voted and which way they've voted. Once they've verified the votes, they then proceed to announce it to the House.
Order! Order!
He's not even trying to be funny.
The ayes to the right, 242. The noes to the left, 391.
Yeah, because all of the
The
eyes
ayes to the right,
were in the bathroom.
242. The noes to the left, 391. So the noes have it, the noes have it. Unlock!
So when the Speaker shouts, "Division, clear the lobby,"
By the way, this is not at all the vibe, the temperament, the feeling of government in the United States. In the US, it is extremely boring. Just Senate rooms and speakers and calling to order and taking a roll call. It's all very procedural and extremely boring. A little bit of passion like this in politics, I think, has been lost, you could say, maybe, in the American government and the way we hold, like, assemblies like this. It's all a bit fake, kind of fake outrage or whatever. At least that's what it comes across as, compared to this, which seems quite genuinely exciting. There's like an urgency with the all the verbal, the speaking, and all of just the tone. I don't know how exactly to say it, but it just comes across differently. I like it.
Division! Clear the lobby!
He's announcing the vote, which is known as a division, because MPs literally divide between the two lobbies.
Division!
And he's also saying that the lobbies need to be cleared.
Clear the lobby!
Is he
so that
editing
no
this
one
to be
besides
funny?
MPs are in them, confusing matters. Okay, so now we've
Okay.
explained voting, we'll answer a few other commonly asked questions about the House of Commons.
Okay.
Why do MPs bob? This happens when an MP wants to get the attention of the Speaker. As the Speaker gets to decide
Bob.
who speaks,
Bob. Is it the standing up and down? Bob it? We're calling it bob. Bobbing? I mean, that makes sense. That's kind of what bobbing is.
MPs will try and get their attention. To do this, they bob. It's the equivalent of raising your hand to speak in class.
Oh, you gotta jump up out of your seat. Can you like jump up and down, wave your arms, or is there you gotta be a little cordial about it, a little bit of grace to it? Maybe there's some techniques I don't know about, but I don't know. How does he decide who to call on if everyone's bobbing? Like, how do you stick out? Or it seems all a bit arbitrary. I'm not sure how the speaker would impartially choose who to speak.
Why is the House of Commons so unruly? Actually, this is the title of the video, so maybe
Yeah.
we should have got to this one a bit sooner.
Unruly.
Well, firstly, the House of Commons is small. Despite there being 650 elected
Yeah.
MPs, the House of Commons can actually only seat 427.
Yes, that was my first instinct at the beginning of this video, that they're all crammed like fish in a barrel. They're all 427 seats, 650 people. They know they don't all fit. It's almost by design. Interesting. It does definitely give off the unruly sense, doesn't it?
This means that there's a much more intense atmosphere.
Yes.
The geography of the House also contributes to this, with the government and opposition being literally facing each other,
Yeah.
meaning that both sides can yell across the room at each other more easily. More importantly, though,
I like that.
clapping is banned in the House. This means in order to voice your opinion, MPs tend to shout, "Hear, hear."
Oh, wow, there's a bunch of fun little rules, huh? I like the hear, hear. That is an American, it's a thing Americans certainly understand, but never in a million years say. But I am familiar with the phrase hear, hear. I would say it as a joke or something. Seems like something you'd say from the 18th century, though. But, this is fascinating. Like, it's not like this in American government, where it's so straight up confrontational, dare I say, but possibly in a good way. This obviously caters to debate, staring your opposition in the face. Like, I don't know, it seems like debate in America is mostly negative, mostly hostile, and not very productive, honestly. Sadly, it's more about getting these gotcha moments. Gotcha, I burned you. I said something that really gotcha, a zinger. That's what debate has become in America, not like honest to God, good faith debate where people are articulating their points and trying to come to the best conclusion. That seems to have been a bit lost. And I can't say I know if that's what's happening here, but I like the setup. I'll say that.
Something which quite easily turns into a dreary groan when so many MPs decide to shout it out.
Hear, hear. Hear.
It might sound pretty awful
Here.
and stupid, but when you can't clap,
I like
you're not
it.
left with many other options.
I like
Minister.
it. Look how packed they are.
The House must calm itself.
He's telling them to calm down.
Today, subsequent days.
You can have a bit of personality in this political system. I like that, honestly. We're humans. It's humans stuffed in a room talking to each other, making laws. There is a crazy element to it. Might as well have some personality, a bit of flair. I don't mind that at all. This dude's got some personality. He said that this guy's kind of infamous, but I'd like to know why. But he's also kind of funny, but he also isn't trying to be funny when he's just, calm down, everyone, calm down. Hear, hear.
Keep calm. Prime Minister.
What are the lines on the floor? In front of the front benches, there's some lines in the carpet. This is where MPs must stand if they're on the front benches and want to speak. They're not allowed to stand in front of this line. The distance between the two front benches is about 4 metres, and is said to be the equivalent of 2 sword lengths. Unfortunately, MPs aren't allowed to bring their swords into Parliament.
2 sword lengths. Back in ye old days, if they, in Parliament, they were inclined to draw their swords, they would not be able to strike each other easily. Like off the bat, they're at least 2 sword lengths apart.
So before each debate, they must leave their swords in the cloakroom and collect them after.
Okay, that's
Which,
good.
as you can imagine, is quite inconvenient sometimes. In fact, this is something we cover in a couple
it?
of our videos.
Do
Who
we
sits
want
where in the House
people
of Commons?
killing each other?
And 11 weird facts about the House of Commons. Yeah, I know. Back in early 2018, we made a list video to try and get some views. Anyway, if you want us to cover more about the House and how the UK government works, let us know by liking this video and commenting what you'd like to learn.
I'll certainly give it a like. It's a good video. And he says subscribe. This is a good video. I gotta give credit to TLDR News. It got quite specific, would be my only, call it a complaint. It's more like, I'm quite simple. I need a very broad explanation of the House of Commons, and we got a little in the weeds there, but with some very interesting facts, some very interesting customs that are quite different than America. But just like when I was explained how UK Parliament works, all of what I'm seeing, I like. I like the UK system of government. It seems effective to the point. It's a democracy, obviously, which I'm going to be partial to as an American. But the way they go about doing it, I can appreciate it. It's like sort of old school, which that's kind of what I'm trying to get at, huh? It's kind of old school in that you're face to face, you're talking. I don't know how crazy it gets. If it gets too crazy, unruly, if it gets too mad and unruly to where it's not productive, that could be a huge issue. Honestly, I probably would want to know if that's true before passing my final judgment, like my judgment matters. But hey, that's my honest thoughts on it. So if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed this reaction, feel free to like, leave a comment, and subscribe for more videos just like this, kind of looking at different things about the UK and reacting to them. That's what I'm going to be doing. So if you enjoy that, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, I'll see you next time.